Hi, this is Jeremy Moskowitz, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can do event forwarding for any kind of application, including PolicyPak Least Privilege Manager, and this can help you decide what things need to make rules for. So by way of example, let's say you have a user who double clicks on something that requires a UAC prompt, and hey, look at that, they get a prompt. They may or may not get a correct challenge and response code from you, the administrator, in order for this to go forward. And these interesting events are going to show up here in the event viewer, okay, hanging out on this very own one singular machine under applications and services logs, and then under PolicyPak. So you can see when PolicyPak generates interesting events for like Least Privilege Manager or other things, in Least Privilege Manager case, you're going to see it under the source of Least Privilege Manager client operational. And you can see, hey, look, let's go to the first thing. The first thing was, hey, this process required admin privileges. That was a Silverlight install. And what was the result of what happened? Oh, look, the dialog was canceled. Now, if you had 1,000 machines, you might want to know across 1,000 machines when UAC prompts were required, when dialogues were canceled, and also when challenge and response codes are used successfully or unsuccessfully. All these are, like I said, detailed in the event log automatically, but what we're able to do is use Microsoft's built-in event forwarding system, get it to a centralized log location, and then you can paw through them yourself and you can make your own rules. Let me show you in excruciating detail how to set this up. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to your create a GPO, and you're going to do this against your computer. So I'm going to do this for my eSales desktops. So I'll call this event log forwarding setup. There's a bunch of steps in here, and I'll try to go reasonably, at a good pace, not too slow, not too fast. Of course, you can fast and stop the video as you need to. The first thing we're going to do is use group policy preferences on the computer side. So on the computer side in services, we need to turn on a service for a service that isn't on already on some endpoints. So we'll click on New Service, and the service we want, you can kind of look on the service name in the bottom right, and we're looking for WinRM. There it is, WinRM, Windows Remote Management Service. So we're going to turn this thing on the endpoints. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do that first. The second thing we're going to do is add a group to a restricted group. Again, I'm doing this all in a singular GPO because as far as I'm concerned, this single GPO is going to turn on event log forwarding, and these are the steps that is required to do that. So under computer side, policies, under Windows settings, I'm going to use restricted groups. So that's under security settings, restricted groups here. There we go. And you're going to add a new group. And the group you're going to add, you're just going to type it in. Don't click on browse because that would be for domain-based groups. This is for the local groups. So you're going to use event viewer, okay? And then the members of the group, and you're going to just type it in, is network service. All right. And that's going to automatically resolve correctly on the endpoint. All right. The next thing you're going to do, the next thing you're going to do is go to, on this machine, which is going to be your event collector. You're going to go to event viewer on this machine. And if you've never done it before, when you click on subscriptions, it says, hey, there's a service that's involved here. Do you want to turn it on and automatically configure it? Yes, we do. We'll go ahead and get that started here. Okay. Then the next piece of the puzzle is to set up a group, is to continue down the same group policy object here and to configure the endpoints to receive a subscription. That's how this system works. You're going to receive a subscription. Now this setting is under computer side, admin templates, and this is going to be under Windows components. Okay, and then under event log forwarding. So event forwarding. Okay, the one you're after is this guy, configure target subscription manager. Now, this took me a really long time to figure out. The documentation on this is not very clear, so I'm going to explain how this works. You can see that there's a syntax here, and even though I read it 19 times, I had a hard time making head or tail of it the first couple of times I did it. Basically, you have to start with the word server, or else it doesn't work. All right, so that's the first part. Then the next question is, are you using HTTP or HTTPS? For me, in all of my tests, by default, it was using HTTP, and that says that you're using port 5985. If you're using HTTPS, that's 5986. So again, you're going to type in server equals HTTP colon, and then 2 slashes, of course, the name of this machine, the one that is the collector. Okay, so that's going to be DC 2016 for me, .fabricam.com, colon, then again, I'm doing HTTP, so that's 5985/wsman/subscription manager, not subscriptions, that's wrong, subscription manager, okay, /WEC. Now there's a little optional thing at the end, which is comma refresh equals, and now for testing, you may want to put in 60. 60 is look for a subscription every 60 seconds after group policy applies. So this will it'll tell the system, hey, look for the subscription every 60 seconds. In the real world, you probably don't want to do this. I would recommend only doing this for testing. I think after that, it will do it, every so often, maybe like it's 15 minutes or something. So I'm going to leave it here for right now, but you can decide if you want to use it for real. Let's make sure it really stuck. Yep, that seems like we're good to go. Remember, server equals HTTP colon, the name of your domain. It's got to be fully qualified domain name, blah, 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 dot, whatever it is, .com, colon, 5985 for HTTP /WSMan, as you can see here, /subscription manager /WEC, and then the optional piece is comma refresh equals 60. All right, so I've now gone ahead and done that. The next piece of the puzzle is back again in the Windows Event Viewer. We're going to create the subscription, okay? So we're going to right-click and create subscription under subscriptions, and we can call this PolicyPak Interesting Events, all right? The name doesn't matter. You can get whatever you want. The thing we're doing is called a source computer initiated. In other words, the computers over there are going to push to this computer over here. And the computers that you want, you can either specify all computers or you can specify specific computers. I'm going to keep it simple and do domain computers. Now remember, domain computers is actually different than domain controllers. So most of the time, this is the right configuration specifying domain controllers. You can also add certificates if you want to do something across domains. This is the way you would do that. I'm not going to show you how to do that in this simple configuration. We're just going to go ahead and do all domain computers. Then the next thing is this idea called select the events. Now, this would be a little bit easier if the machine you were on actually had the PolicyPak client-side extension and you had some interesting events. But this machine, in my case, happens to be a server or a domain controller, and it doesn't have the PolicyPak client-side extension. So therefore, when I go to select events here, and I sort of start poking around here under events and look for PolicyPak things, I don't have any because I don't have the PolicyPak client-side extension. It's not here. So in order to do this, you have to configure by clicking, again, select events, click on XML Manual Mode, and in the KB article that you probably got to for this in the first place, you're going to have to paste in a manual query here that will get you the interesting events you want. Now, you're not beholden to use just these events. This is a demonstration specifically to show how you would acquire least privilege manager operational logs to then make determinations about what rules you want to. But this could be anything. This could be Windows system log. This could be security log. This could be just about anything you want. This could be everything in PolicyPak land if you wanted to also. As you can see, I'm limiting it only to PolicyPak least privilege manager client operational log, just to keep it simple. But again, if the machine you were on configuring the world right here had the PolicyPak client-side extension, you wouldn't have to do this step. You could find it pretty fast, using the filter method. But I don't, so I can't. So I'll go ahead and click OK and click OK again. And that's it. What we're going to do now is I'm going to run GP update on the machine over there, and what we're looking for here is the source computers. It should go from 0 to 1. So what we'll do is we'll go back over here. We'll run GP update /force, and it's doing a whole lot of stuff, right? It's turning on WinRM. It's configuring that special group that we needed, the event viewers, to have the membership we needed, and it's starting to deliver subscriptions through group policy and then accept those subscriptions here. So hopefully this just kicks in the very first time and life is good. And once that happens, once this is all done, what we should see is when group policy finishes that the machine has received the subscription and is ready to rock, and we'll see it in the event viewer over there. And there's computer side. All right, so let's go ahead and go over to back to our event system here, and I'm going to hit F5 to refresh, and bingo! Source computers 1. That is what you want. This is the magic. So once you see that you've got source computers here, what you should see next is under Windows log forwarded events, you should start seeing interesting events come across, right? So these events were the ones that we created just a couple minutes ago the ones that we selected, and they're ready to rock. So we can see, let's go ahead and create a couple more interesting events just to see some more interesting events come across. So if we were to click on Silverlight install, oh, well that's not available to us, so we'll go ahead and click escape as a standard user. Or if we go to device manager, that's not available to us, so we'll hit escape as a standard user. Let's go ahead and click on PowerPoint viewer, and then maybe what we'll do is we will say, hey, let's get a request code from the user, and then we'll go ahead and run the PolicyPak utility that will generate keys here, which I have under extras, and the PolicyPak least privilege manager approval tool. And I have this already configured. You probably saw this happen in some other videos. Okay. All right. Oops. Helps if you get it right. Okay, so here's my request code. Here's my response code. I'm going to copy that or read it to the user over the phone, and then maybe I can pick the reason why is that the installation is for the user. Okay, so let me go ahead and copy that response code, and then I will paste it in here where the user reads it over the phone, and bam, there we go. The software is now elevated and installed, and all this is being logged into the event log system. Okay, so that's the whole point. But now it's not just here on this one machine, it's now being forwarded, okay, using event forwarding over to our systems, over to our collector system back over here. I'm done with this. I'll go ahead and close this out too. Okay, now if I hit F5 and I don't see any interesting events, it doesn't mean it's not working. Okay, so I think what happens at this point is that event forwarding will now forward stuff every 15 minutes or so. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the camera and then we'll come back and I'll hit F5 in a little bit and we'll see those interesting events that occurred during the session. Hang tight. Okay, I'm back, and as you can see here, the number of events says 4, but new events are available. So if I hit F5 to refresh, bingo, there they are. And now we can paw through the events. You probably want to work backward, but the point is, as you can see, dialogue success requires admin permissions and dialogue success. And 613 is that they're able to get through because of a code. And you can see the reason is application installation, what we used earlier, so you can see there. And the code uses is 1 of 1, which is to say it can't be used again. And if we were to go backwards some more, you can find some other, find some other events that we got started on. Like I said, dialogue requires, process requires admin privileges. And this is the kind of thing that you would use to create the rules in Least Privilege Manager. And just like that, you're off to the races. Hope this helps you out with event forwarding and collection. And now you can use you can do this for any process, or if you want to specifically use it for Least Privilege Manager to figure out what processes are throwing UAC prompts and help you create rules to bypass them, you can do that right now. Thank you very much for watching, and talk to you soon.